Today, we will delve into the 9 experiences people may have at the moment of their departure. When someone close to us passes away, we are filled with doubts and questions. What will their experience be like? Will they be at peace? Did they see the light? What will they feel in their final breath? Memories flood in, sometimes with sadness, but also with comfort. That emptiness in the heart reflects all the love shared, a love that never fades, only changes form. If you have ever lost a loved one, perhaps when you close your eyes, you can still feel their presence, and surely when remembering them, your heart fills with a deep sadness. If you have ever experienced this pain, this video is for you. Today, I will share the 9 things people see when they physically die. The information I present comes directly from the Bible, as well as testimonies from those who have had near-death experiences, also known as NDEs. These are people who, after reaching a state of clinical death, return to life and can describe what they experienced during that process. Let's begin with the first thing people see when they pass away. Number 1, they see their loved ones who have already passed. Right at the moment when the breath stops and the heart takes its final beat, something amazing happens. In that instant, the deceased sees those loved ones who went ahead. At the moment of death, they see them clearly, waiting to guide them toward the light, bringing them peace and joy. Imagine your loved one on their deathbed. Their eyes close, but then they open to a new world. There, in that space between life and death, familiar faces appear, those who are no longer here. It's not a dream or a hallucination. They are there, waiting, as if they knew the moment had come, and that place where they wait is under God's protection because He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. According to Ecclesiastes, the spirit returns to its creator, where those who have departed are. The dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. The person who has passed sees them clearly without a doubt. Those loved ones who went ahead are there to guide them. There is no fear, no loneliness. There is only an indescribable peace and a warm light that envelops everything. Psalm 36 reinforces this idea. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light, we see light. Some testimonies have mentioned moments when the deceased sees a radiant light. Those accompanying the dying person still alive may perceive something in the air, a sweet floral fragrance that fills the room. It is a sign, a whisper from beyond, a manifestation of those spirits who have come to take their loved one to a place of peace. I want to take a brief moment to encourage you to leave a comment. Your experience can be of great help to others. If you have lost a loved one, even if it's just to share how much you miss them, your story could provide comfort. Many people watching this video might be going through a difficult time due to the loss of a loved one, and reading your experience could give them a sense that they are not alone. By doing so, you can offer support to those seeking comfort, knowing that there are others facing the same challenges. Perhaps you could share the pain you felt when losing someone close, what you did to overcome the loss, or even some advice you received from others at the time. Your comment could be a light for many. Let's continue. We were talking about how, at times when a loved one passes away, those around them may perceive a soft floral aroma. This is a moment charged with tension and drama, a clash between the earthly and the divine that invites us to reflect on the fragility of our existence and on what truly matters at the end of the road. Because in those final moments, riches, achievements, and daily worries disappear. The only thing left is love, the invisible bond that connects us with those who departed before us. And so, in the very moment of death, a truth is revealed that we all must accept. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. There is nothing more powerful than the love that transcends death, a love that knows no limits or boundaries, and in the end we will all reunite in that light, guided by those who came before us, because death is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. Number 2, a sensation of detaching from material possessions. Secondly, one of the sensations experienced by those near death is that, in those moments, material things cease to matter. Everything that once seemed essential loses its value. This is a positive occurrence, as by letting go of these attachments, the person can transcend without obstacles, without any ties interfering with their journey toward the eternal. Imagine the last breath of your loved one, that instant when everything you know dissolves into nothingness. At that precise moment, when life slips away like sand through fingers, something extraordinary happens. The material world, everything that once held importance, loses its value. That house you cherished, the car you took care of so diligently, the jewelry, the titles, the achievements, all of it fades in a sigh. None of it matters anymore. It's as if, on the brink of death, a truth we've ignored throughout our lives becomes clear. In those final moments, a brutally honest clarity overtakes the mind of the dying. It's then that they understand possessions, riches, and the goods they worked so hard to accumulate are but shadows, illusions that carry no weight on the threshold between life and death. Because we brought nothing into this world, and without a doubt, we can take nothing out. This verse gains profound significance at that moment when the person releases their grip on the material. For we brought nothing into this world, and we can take nothing out. It is a liberation, a final severance from the earthly, allowing them to move forward unburdened into the unknown. It's a moment of pure, raw truth. Everything they fought to achieve, all that once caused worry, simply vanishes. What truly matters cannot be found in the tangible. It's not the large house, the money in the bank, or the objects that once defined identity. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? This question takes on overwhelming significance. In the end, all that remains is the bare soul, free from the bonds of the world. And here the reflection becomes profound, almost universal. Deep down, we all know there's more to life than the material, something that transcends the physical world. It's a feeling we all share, though we sometimes forget it amid the rush of daily life. Death reminds us of this truth in a way that cannot be ignored. In that precise moment, we understand that true wealth isn't in what we own, but in who we are, in what we carry in our hearts and souls. This detachment, this relinquishment of the material, is not a punishment but a blessing. It allows us to cross to the other side without burdens, without weights dragging us into darkness. It prepares us for an encounter with the eternal, with the divine. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. In death, this teaching becomes a reality. It's then that the light shines brightest, when the soul, free of bonds, rises toward infinity. This is the final act of liberation at the end of the journey. Only what truly matters remains. The material dissolves and the soul prepares for the great journey. It's a reminder to all of us that in life, the essential lies not in what we possess, but in who we are, in the love we give, and in the peace we carry with us. Because in the end, that's the only wealth we can truly take with us. Now let's continue with the third thing people see when they die. Number 3, they see their own body from above. Thirdly, when they physically die, many people experience seeing their body from an elevated perspective, observing the people present, gathered around them. They see their loved ones crying, suffering, and they witness everything happening in their surroundings. In that moment, they perceive everything, hear everything, and feel everything. They even have the opportunity to say goodbye to those they leave behind. Imagine, for a moment, that life, with all its pain and beauty, comes to an end. Your loved one takes their last breath, and what happens next is beyond imagination. Suddenly, your loved one is no longer in their body, but they haven't entirely left either. They find themselves floating, suspended in a space between life and the eternal. From above, they see everything. Their own body lies motionless, surrounded by faces filled with pain, tears, and despair. But your loved one is in another place, a place from which they observe what is happening, becoming a spectator of their own death. This moment is one of the most impactful experiences a person can have after death, because the body without spirit is dead. Now, without that body that for years was their home, your loved one is pure spirit, and from that elevated perspective perceives everything with a clarity they had never experienced before. Your loved one sees those they love, observes their pain, hears their sobs, and feels their suffering as if it were their own. It is a moment both devastating and profound. Weep with those who weep takes on a tangible reality as they witness the love surrounding them, a love so immense that tears fall like rain. They realize how much they meant to others and how their departure has left an unfillable void. But there is more. From that vantage point, your loved one has the opportunity to say goodbye, to offer a final farewell. There are no words, but the message is conveyed in a language beyond the human, a language of the soul. The spirit itself bears witness to our spirit. This testimony is profound, a farewell filled with love, gratitude, and peace. It is a goodbye that, though silent, resonates deeply within the hearts of those left behind. The very spirit communicates with the spirits of the living, giving testimony of its final farewell. Here arises a reflection, a truth we all carry within us, though we sometimes bury it deep inside. Death is not the end. It is a step, a transition, a transformation. At that moment, as your loved one watches from above, they understand that life is not measured by the years lived, but by the love given, the bonds created, and the impact left on those who mourn them. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes," says the Spirit, "they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." Number 4, they visit the dreams of the living to say goodbye. Sometimes after passing, people remain in this plane for a short time. They do so to visit places they need or wish to see for various reasons. One of those reasons is to say goodbye to family members who were not present when they passed and to offer them comfort. For this reason, there are cases where people have seen deceased relatives in their dreams or presence without knowing they had already died, only to later learn that the moment they saw them was when that person had just passed. They travel as the energy they now are to the dreams of the people they love. Your loved one felt their last breath escape their body, and at that moment, everything changed. They were no longer a prisoner of pain or the weight of flesh. Now they were light, pure energy. But they didn't leave immediately. Something kept them tethered to this world, a force stronger than death itself: love. What your loved one sees from above is a reflection of the life they lived. It is a moment of personal judgment, not of condemnation, but of pure truth. In that instant, they realize what truly matters: love, compassion, and the memories they left behind. And although they are no longer in their body, their presence remains strong. Their spirit bids farewell but does not vanish, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who love them. This is a moment charged with tension, overflowing emotions, but also a profound peace. In that silent farewell, your loved one understands that while earthly life has ended, love does not die. Love never fails. And that is the most powerful truth of all, the one that ultimately transcends death. From their new perspective, your loved one sees everything with overwhelming clarity. They know they have left their body behind, but are not yet ready to leave completely. There are places they must visit, goodbyes they have yet to give. It is as if one last task calls them, a sacred mission before crossing to the other side. First, your loved one goes to see their sister, who wasn't in the room when they passed, something that tormented her deeply. They find her asleep, her face marked by tears. They approach, lean over her, and though no words are spoken, their presence says it all. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Though not an angel, their mission at that moment is to offer comfort and peace. Her sister, though still asleep, feels a sudden relief, a calm that floods her being. In that instant, she knows everything will be okay. But it isn't just about their sister. Your loved one knows there are others who need their farewell, even if they don't realize it. The cousin they hadn't seen in years, the old friend they never forgot. To each of them, they leave a final trace of their essence, whether in dreams or an unexpected breeze. They appear, and although those they visit might not consciously recognize it deep in their souls, they understand that the visit was a goodbye. On their final journey, they understood something they hadn't realized in life. Death was not the end but a transition. Love never ceases to be. And so, as energy, as light, they moved through the places and people they loved, leaving a spark of their love in each one. They knew that when they finally crossed to the other side, those sparks would continue to shine in the hearts of those they left behind. Finally, the moment came for your loved one. They had said their goodbyes, offered comfort, and closed every chapter. Now they felt the call of the eternal, a deep peace inviting them to rest. And with one last glance, they let go, knowing they had fulfilled their mission. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Your loved one vanished into the light, but their presence, their love, and the marks they left behind would continue in this world, forever etched in the hearts they touched. Number 5, they see their life as a movie. Fifthly, upon transcending, many people begin to see their life as if it were a film. reliving both the good and the bad moments. They ask themselves if they truly lived their life to the fullest, if they were happy. Their life is presented in this way so they can relive those cherished moments and truly understand how their journey on this plane unfolded. Your loved one has crossed the threshold, the boundary separating life from the eternal. But instead of disappearing into nothingness, they find themselves in a different space, one where time no longer follows the same rules, where the past and the present intertwine into a single thread of memories. In this state, something profound and revealing happens. Your loved one's life begins to unfold before them like a movie, a sequence of images, sounds, and emotions. Every moment, from childhood days to their final breaths, plays before their eyes with heartbreaking clarity. There is no room for lies or illusions. Here, everything is seen exactly as it was. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed and nothing concealed that will not be brought to light. This is the naked truth, the summary of a life revealed in its entirety. Your loved one watches the good moments, those days of pure joy when laughter filled the rooms and love seemed eternal. But they also see the difficult moments, the mistakes, the decisions made in darkness, the words they wish they could take back. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. This is not a judgment in the condemning sense, but a review, an opportunity to truly understand the life they lived. Your loved one reflects. Were they happy? Did they make the most of every day? Did they love enough? Did they live with purpose? It's a profound reflection touching the deepest fibers of their being. Because in the end, what matters is not just what was done, but how it was lived. Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Now, in this space between worlds, the wisdom of a well-lived life is what they seek. And amidst all of this, your loved one realizes something essential. Life wasn't perfect, but it was filled with moments that defined their essence. The laughter, the tears, the triumphs, and the falls, all of it had a purpose, a meaning that may not have been understood in life, but now becomes astoundingly clear. In this final review, your loved one is not alone. The divine presence accompanies them, guiding them through this journey of self-evaluation. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. From the beginning to the end, God was present in every moment, now revealing the complete truth of their existence. At the end of this process, your loved one understands that happiness was not a destination, but the journey itself. That true wealth wasn't in the material, but in the moments shared, the acts of love, and the pursuit of inner peace. With this understanding, they feel at peace, ready to continue their journey into the eternal, knowing that their life, with all its imperfections, was fully lived. And so, with this final revelation, your loved one bids farewell to this life with a sense of fulfillment. For though it wasn't always easy, every moment was worth it. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And now, with a light heart and a peaceful spirit, your loved one moves forward into the light that awaits them. Number 6, they see an intense light. Those who have had near-death experiences often describe a bright light, a sensation of profound peace, or the vision of a beautiful place, a paradise they do not wish to leave but must return from because their time has not yet come. However, for those whose moment has arrived, that light becomes their destination, the place they are guided to, a home in a beautiful realm often spoken of in reverence. Your loved one had reached that moment we all must face. The instant when earthly life fades and eternity opens like a vast horizon. There was no fear, only a profound calm enveloping their being. Suddenly they sensed it, a light. It was no ordinary light. It was brilliant, warm, and filled everything. It was as if every fiber of their soul was drawn toward it, pulled by a force more powerful than anything they had known in life. As they approached, the light revealed a place of indescribable beauty, a paradise, a haven of peace where time did not exist, where pain and suffering were but distant memories. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. This was the place prepared for them, the final destination where they would find eternal rest. Your loved one felt immense peace, a peace they had never experienced on earth. There was no urgency, no rush. The past, with all its struggles and sorrows, faded away, replaced by a serenity that embraced them completely. It was as if every wound, every sorrow, dissolved into the light, leaving only the pure essence of their being. For many who have experienced near death, this light and this place are just a glimpse, a brief encounter before being returned to life. But for your loved one, there was no return. This was their moment, the end of their earthly journey and the beginning of an eternal existence. In that paradise often spoken of in Christian tradition, the experience of seeing a light at the moment of death is interpreted as an encounter with divine presence, the glory of God, or the entrance to his kingdom. This light symbolizes God's guidance and love, leading the soul to eternal life. While the Bible does not explicitly describe the experience of seeing a light at death, it offers several verses to help us understand this idea within Christian faith. In Scripture, God is described as light. This light symbolizes his holiness, purity, and glory. In John 1, it is written, "God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all." This light represents the truth and eternal life God offers to all who believe in him. When someone on their deathbed sees a light, Christians interpret it as an approach to the Creator, described as a pure and radiant light. Jesus himself is presented as the light of the world in John 8, stating, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." This verse underscores that those who have followed Christ in their lives will not walk in darkness at death, but will be guided by the light into eternal life. The vision of the light at the moment of death can be interpreted as the fulfillment of the promise to be led into God's kingdom. In Revelation, describing the New Jerusalem, it says, "The city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God gives it light, and the Lamb is its lamp." This apocalyptic image reinforces the idea that the light seen by the dying is a glimpse of God's glory, a welcome to the divine presence in heaven. As they approached the light, your loved one began to understand that all life on earth had merely been a prelude, a necessary phase before reaching this final destination. In that precise moment, they grasped the meaning of Jesus' words. "Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it." In that place of calm, it became clear that the true purpose of life was to prepare for this moment, to arrive at the eternal home of their soul. With one final glance at everything left behind, your loved one fully surrendered to the light. There was no room for pain or sadness in farewells anymore. There was only a deep sense of fulfillment, as though they had finally achieved the goal for which they had lived. At that instant, they knew they were exactly where they were meant to be, in the place of peace and harmony, awaiting them forever. Number 7, they see the purpose of their life. In this 7th stage, those who pass on discover profound revelations about their existence and their reason for being. They understand that every moment lived, every experience, had a purpose for their spiritual evolution. Nothing was accidental. Each decision was part of a path they had chosen for themselves. Thus, viewing their life from this new perspective, they recognize that their spiritual journey has been successful and transformative. Your loved one has crossed to the other side, entering a space where the concepts of time and space dissolve, giving way to pure consciousness. In this place, there is no pain or confusion, only a profound clarity revealing truths that were previously hidden. In this new dimension, they begin to realize something they had never understood so clearly. Every moment, every experience had a purpose. As their consciousness expands in this plane of existence, a powerful revelation engulfs them. Every act, every emotion felt, whether small or life-defining, was part of a larger design. Nothing was by chance. As the wise scripture says, everything has its time under heaven, and in each experience, no matter how small, there was a reason, a purpose beyond the obvious. Now your loved one understands that every joy, every sorrow, every decision they made was part of a greater plan, one they themselves had chosen before being born. They discover that their life wasn't merely a succession of days, but a profound journey towards spiritual evolution. Each challenge they faced, each trial they overcame, wasn't a punishment or a twist of fate, but a lesson, an opportunity to grow and shape their soul like a diamond refined under pressure. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Now they know that the work referred to in this verse was their own process of spiritual growth, and that every step they took in their life brought them closer to the perfection of their being. This moment of revelation is intense, filled with introspection, as they feel the weight of every decision and experience like never before. Has their life truly been fruitful? Have they fulfilled the purpose for which they came into this world? At this moment, with a clarity that encompasses everything, the answer becomes clear. Yes, their life has been a success, not in terms the world might measure, but in the terms of the soul. Their spirit has grown, transformed, learned, and evolved through every experience they lived. This understanding, however, brings with it deep reflection. They realize that during their life, they often became entangled in the superficial and the immediate, forgetting that our existence is meant for something far greater than merely passing the time. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In that moment, your loved one understands that true transformation isn't found in accumulating wealth or seeking recognition, but in cultivating the spirit, in loving, forgiving, and learning. As each revelation unfolds, a profound peace surrounds them. There is no longer room for doubt or regret, only the absolute understanding that every moment lived had a purpose. Every tear, every smile, every act of love, and every mistake were pieces of a puzzle that now reveals itself in full. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. In this instant, the truth of this verse shines more clearly than ever. Everything, even the incomprehensible, has been part of their spiritual growth. With this newfound understanding, your loved one feels ready to continue their journey. They have fulfilled their mission on earth, learned what they needed to learn, and are now prepared for what comes next. They know their path doesn't end here, that the evolution of the soul continues beyond death, but they move forward with the serenity of knowing they gave their best, lived a full and meaningful life. In this final moment of revelation, they say goodbye with love, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and growth. Their earthly journey has come to an end, but their spirit moves forward, filled with peace, wisdom, and the certainty that everything happened as it was meant to. Number 8, they see the afterlife. As they approach the light, your loved one begins to sense the presence of others. These are the ones who pass before them, loved ones waiting with open arms. Blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. In this realm beyond what human eyes can perceive, souls reunite in a celebration filled with joy. There is no pain or suffering, only the purity of a love that transcends death. But what they experience is not just a reunion. As they continue moving forward, the surroundings transform into a landscape of indescribable beauty. It resembles nothing they had ever seen on earth, yet everything feels familiar. It is as if the paradise they once imagined materializes before them. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. This is the promised place, an eternal home where all promises are fulfilled. This new heaven and new earth are magnificent, untainted by sin or the corruption of the old world. The colors are more vibrant, the air is purer, and every step brings them closer to a place where everything is perfect and immaculate. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Upon entering this renewed kingdom, your loved one finds themselves in the holy city, the New Jerusalem. In the book of Revelation, it is described as having streets paved with pure gold, as radiant as crystal. Here, there is no night, for the presence of God illuminates every corner, bathing everything in divine light. The walls are adorned with all kinds of precious stones, and the gates, made of enormous pearls, remain open, welcoming all the redeemed. As they walk these glorious streets, your loved one realizes they are not alone. Angels, beings of incomparable beauty and purity, surround them, accompanying them with soft and melodious songs. Then I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, the living creatures, and the elders. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. The angels guide your loved one toward the throne of God, where everything culminates in a stunning vision of divine majesty and power. Finally, they arrive at the throne, where they encounter God Himself, surrounded by a light so intense it cannot be directly looked upon, yet His presence is deeply felt in every fiber of their being. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby, a rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. Before the throne there was a sea of glass clear as crystal, reflecting the purity of divinity. Number 9, they see and know God. In that moment, the soul awakens to its new existence, feeling a radiance and fulfillment like never before. Your loved one has reached the end of their earthly life. And with the last beat of their heart, all that was familiar fades into a soft whisper. Suddenly, they find themselves in an entirely different place, a realm where time no longer exists and peace envelops them completely. There is no more pain, no fear, only a profound calm that fills every corner of their being. At this moment, your loved one becomes aware of a presence that has always been with them, though perhaps they had never perceived it so clearly. It is an overwhelming sensation, an indescribable force that surrounds them and fills them with a love so pure and perfect that words fall short. For now, we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. For the first time, they see clearly what they had only sensed before, the presence of God. This encounter transcends anything they could have experienced on earth. Before their eyes, a brilliant light more intense than any sun manifests, not a blinding light, but one that reveals. At the center of this light, your loved one sees God, not as a distant, inaccessible figure, but as the source of all goodness, truth, and eternity. In this light, they see themselves, not just as a finite being, but as an integral part of God's divine plan. It is a moment of pure revelation, where all doubts and fears dissolve in the magnitude of God's presence. Your loved one experiences a peace so profound that no earthly experience could compare. In His presence, there is fullness of joy and eternal delight at His right hand. In this sacred encounter, there is no judgment or condemnation, only an unconditional love that wraps them like a warm mantle. Amid this peace, your loved one also feels a deep sense of awe, a reverence, because seeing God is not merely perceiving light or feeling a presence. It is fully understanding for the first time who God is and what it means to be part of His creation. In this revelation, they realize that God is not just the creator of everything, but the beginning and the end of all that exists. In this encounter, they understand that every moment of their life was known to God, that every step they took was guided toward this moment of truth. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. This profound understanding fills them with gratitude and awe. All the weight of life, with its joys and pains, dissolves in the light of this truth. Finally, in this encounter, there is a fusion of souls, a moment of total union where your loved one no longer feels separate from God, but completely one with Him. It is a return home, a reunion with the source of all love and life. For in Him, we live and move and have our being. In this moment, your loved one not only sees God, but knows Him in a way that transcends any earthly understanding. This encounter with the divine is the culmination of all they have experienced, the end of their earthly journey, and the beginning of their eternity in God's presence. With this revelation, your loved one surrenders completely, knowing they are embraced by infinite love in the presence of a God who knew and loved them even before time began. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And so, with indescribable peace, your loved one immerses themselves in the eternal light of God, where they have finally found their true home, the place they always belonged. To conclude, from this channel, El Poder de la Palabra, we want to express our deepest gratitude for all the support you have given us since the beginning of this journey of creating videos. We send blessings to you and your family. Now, the chapters of the 9 experiences people have when dying are as follows. They see their loved ones who passed before them. They feel a detachment from their material possessions. They see their own body from above. They visit loved ones in their dreams to say goodbye. They see their life as a movie. They perceive an intense light. They discover the purpose of their life. They see the afterlife. They see and recognize God. If what you've discovered about what people see when they die has surprised you, you cannot miss the next video that will appear on your screen. In it, we will discuss how to communicate with your guardian angel. This topic is highly significant, as, according to Padre Pio, your guardian angel can be a powerful guide, helping you send messages to your loved ones who have passed on, providing you comfort, and helping you find a path forward after a loss. Additionally, many people have shared how their guardian angel provided assistance during challenging moments in their families. In the video, we will unveil the hidden power of correctly connecting with your guardian angel, based on the teachings of such a significant figure as Padre Pio. We'll see you in the next video.